Tales of old and stories bold, secrets waiting to be heard. Adventures start with every turn. Welcome to Tales of the Beard. Tales of old and stories bold, secrets waiting to be heard. Adventures start with every turn. Welcome to Tales of the Beard.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Tales of the Beard. I was going to say lovely host, but I'm just your host because there's nothing too lovely about me, Matt. Super excited to be back. Hopefully you have been enjoying them. This is like episode 11, 12. We're almost to a dozen. That's pretty cool. This one is also pretty cool as well. It's a little bit of a story about a dying art, a dying business. Picture frames. This one is the last frame. Let's just jump right into this. In the heart of a bustling city stood a quaint little antique shop named Time's Echo. Its owner, an elderly man with twinkling eyes and a kind smile. He had run the shop for decades. It was the kind of place where the past was lovingly preserved in dusty books, tarnished silverware, and faded photographs. Clara Mitchell, a freelance photographer that just had a little bit of an unusual kind of penchant, had always been drawn to such places. On a crisp autumn morning, she wandered into Time's Echo, her curiosity piqued by the shop's eclectic assortment of relics. As she walked through the narrow aisles, her eyes fell upon an old, leather-bound camera resting on a wooden shelf. It was unlike any camera she had ever seen. Its design was intricate, with delicate engravings and a brass finish that gleamed softly in the shop's dim light. "What's this?" Clara asked, picking up the camera. "Well, that's an old Kodak from the early 20th century, the shopkeeper said. "It's been there for as long as I can remember. I don't think it works anymore, but it's quite beautiful, don't you think?" Clara examined it closely. The camera felt surprisingly solid in her hands, and the lens had an almost hypnotic gleam. Despite its age, it seemed to hold an air of mystery that intrigued her. "I'd like to buy it," Clara said. "How much?" The shopkeeper named a modest price, and Clara handed over the money with a sense of satisfaction. She couldn't wait to explore the stories this antique camera might hold. Back in her small apartment, Clara set up the camera right on the kitchen table. She carefully opened the back, expecting to find it empty. Instead, there was an old roll of film inside. Curious, she decided to develop it before taking new pictures. In the dim light of her dark room, Clara worked with practiced ease, the chemical smells filling her senses as she processed the film. She was used to the routine, but this time, there was an odd thrill in it, feeling the anticipation. What could it be? What lies in these photos? When she pulled the film from her fixer and saw the first image, she was stunned. The photo was, before I tell you, why don't you pause it right now? Take a guess in the comments of what the first photo is. The first thing that comes into your mind. I know what came into mine, but let me see what comes into yours. Ready? Pause now. Okay, we're back after the pause. Hopefully you put in the comments what you think it was. The photo was a young couple, an elegant woman in a vintage dress and a dashing man in a suit. Did you guess right? I didn't. They were actually smiling at each other, their faces radiant with what seemed to be pure joy. But it wasn't just their smiles that got Clara's attention. It was the intense emotion that seemed to just radiate from the photo. She shook her head, attributing to the quality of the old film and her own imagination. But as she developed more images, each one told a story that was more vivid and emotional than the last. Clara began to notice something peculiar. The photos just weren't capturing moments. They were capturing the very essence of the people within them. In one photo, a woman in tears was sitting alone in a dimly lit room, her sorrow almost palpable. In another, a man in a darkened alley had a look of desperation and regret that seemed to leap out of the frame. Clara couldn't shake the feeling that these images were telling a story, one of deep, emotional significance. Determined to uncover the story behind the photographs, Clara began researching the people in the images. She started with a young couple from the first photo. She visited local historical societies, scoured old newspapers, and even reached out to local genealogists. After weeks and weeks of digging, Clara discovered the couple, Anne and Richard Sullivan. They were well-known figures from the early 1900s. Anne was a celebrated actress, and Richard was a prominent businessman. Their love story was famous for its beauty and, unfortunately, its tragic ending. According to the records, Anne and Richard were deeply in love, but their relationship faced many challenges, just like many do. Richard had been involved in a business scandal that led to his downfall. The scandal had caused a rift between them, and despite their attempts to reconcile, they were ultimately separated by fate. Clara's heart ached as she read about their struggles. She began to see the photographs in a new light, their emotions now making sense within the context of their story. She continued to develop the photos. Clara noticed the scenes behind them became more and more intense. There was a picture of Anne alone in the Grand Theater, her gaze distant and just kind of melancholic. In another, Richard was standing by a grave, his face etched with sorrow. Each photo seemed to capture a different aspect of their lives, their triumphs, their struggles, their moments of despair. It was as if the camera had a way of revealing not just their outward appearances, but their innermost thoughts and feelings. One evening, as Clara was working away in her darkroom, she finds a photograph that left her breathless. It was a picture of Anne, but something was different. Anne looked older, her face lined with years of hardship. She was holding a letter, her expression one of longing and hope. Clara felt a chill run down her spine. She had never seen this image before. It was as if the camera had captured a new piece of the puzzle, one that hadn't been in the original roll of film. Driven by curiosity, Clara began to investigate further. She discovered that the letter that Anne was holding was addressed to Richard. It was a heartfelt plea for reconciliation, written in a beautiful, flowing script. As Clara read the letter, she realized that Anne had never truly given up on Richard. Despite the pain and betrayal, she held on to hope that maybe one day they'd actually be reunited. The letter was a testament to her enduring love, a love that survived even in the face of overwhelming odds. Claire was deeply moved. She felt as if she were witnessing a personal, profound moment in the lives of two people she had never met before. It was a reminder of the power of love and the impact it could have even after years of separation. The final photograph Claire developed was the most just powerful one of all. It was a picture of Anne and Richard, much, much older now, standing together in a sunlit garden. They looked peaceful, their faces softened by the passage of time, their expressions, they were content, as if they had found a sense of closure. Claire felt a tear slip down her cheek as she stared at the image. It was clear that despite their struggles, Anne and Richard had found a way to reconcile. The camera had captured not just their emotions, but their journey towards redemption. Determined to honor their story, Claire decided to create an exhibit showcasing the photographs and the story behind them. She wanted others to experience the powerful narrative she had uncovered and to understand the depth of the emotions that had been captured. The exhibit was a success, drawing visitors from far and wide. People were moved by the photographs and the story of Anne and Richard. Clara watched as people stood before the images, their expressions reflecting a range of emotions, sadness, hope, and a deep sense of connection. In the end, the antique camera had revealed not just the past, but the enduring power of love and forgiveness. Clara felt a profound sense of fulfillment, knowing that she had been a part of something truly special. She packed up the camera, now an old friend. Clara knew that its magic had not only told the story of Anne and Richard, but it also touched her in ways she had never expected. The camera had captured more than just images. It had captured the essence of what it meant to be human. With a final glance at this camera, Clara set it aside content with the knowledge that its story had been shared and its legacy honored. She was ready to embark on her next adventure, but she would always carry with her memories of the love, betrayal, and redemption that the last frame had revealed. As the years went by, Clara often reflected on the antique camera and the remarkable story it had unveiled. She continued to explore the world through photography, but the lesson she had learned from Anne and Richard remained with her. The camera, now a cherished artifact in her studio, served as a reminder of the power of storytelling and the importance of uncovering the hidden truths within every image. Clara knew that the photograph, geez, you'd think I'd have that word down by now, had a story, and it was her job to seek out these stories and share them with the world. And so, with each new project, Clara carried the spirit of Anne and Richard with her, ever grateful for the chance to be a part of their extraordinary journey. Wow. What a story, huh? Anne and Richard, and it just brings you back to the days. And this one hit a little bit extra for me, and kind of the motivation and inspiration is I worked a lot of hours behind the counter at a photography business, and it is really powerful how photographs can, just capture moments, memories, good, bad, and the ugly. And it just, makes me want to go out and take some more pictures, develop the pictures, and store the pictures. So hopefully you enjoyed this tale of the beard from the beard himself. So again, this is Matt. I can't thank you enough for taking some time out of your busy day to listen to a tale. Come back next week or start over from episode 1 and listen to them all. If you have an idea, an inspiration, or just a little bit of a story, send it over. Let me write it up, and let's continue to grow this together. Again, can't thank you enough. Have a good rest of your day. Take care, everybody. Go take some pictures. Check out the friends of the show in the description. Go to Beard Laws Studio. Check out all our awesome sponsors that we don't have yet. All right, that's all I got. Bye.